Welcome to Wisdom of the World. Today I'm going to tell a story, a legend from Ireland. It is called The Giant's Wife. And it goes like this. Way back in the days that there were giants, in Ireland there was Finn McCool, the biggest, the strongest, and the most handsomest giant of them all. At least, so he thought. He could pull a tree out of the ground just with his bare hands. He could jump over a river in one leap. He could split a huge boulder with one blow of his axe. Now, Finn had heard that across the sea in Scotland there were also lots of giants, and they regularly had competitions throwing tree trunks and carrying boulders, and he thought that sounded really like fun, so he wanted to join that. So he went home and he kissed his wife Unag, and he says, honey, I'll be back in a week or 10 days max. I'm gonna join those giants in Scotland for a game, and in order to get there I'm gonna build a pathway in the sea so I can get there without getting my feet wet. So off he went to the coast, and he started working hard. He started picking huge boulders from the ground and throwing them in the sea, and gradually, a road started to form. Now he was about 3 days into this job, and then a friend of him came to visit him, and he said, Finn, I don't mean to sort of upset you in any way, but there is a gossip that a big giant from Scotland is going to come over to your house to flatten you. People say that he carries a thunderbolt in his pocket and that he's got a little finger that is as strong as 10 men together. Said Finn, I don't believe a word of it. But secretly he was starting to feel a little uneasy. Well, in any way, his friend continued, this stranger has heard that you are the strongest, the biggest, the most handsome giant in Ireland, and he doesn't like it one bit. So he's made up his mind that he's going to come over and threat you to pieces. Well, we'll see about that, said Finn. If that pipsqueak of a giant comes as close to my house, I'm just gonna stamp him in like a fly. But actually, on the outside he was acting very brave, but now he was getting really worried. So he went home and he told his wife the story, and he sat down. He was, very glumly. And his wife said to him, you man, always boasting about your muscles. Sometimes you just need to use your brain instead. So do exactly what I tell you and leave everything to me. And then she picked out 6 huge round flat stones, and she put them on a plate next to an oat cake that she had made, and she put a bit of a mark on it so she knew which one was what. She put them in the oven, and then she told her husband Finn to make a huge cradle, a baby cradle, and put it by the fire. So he did. And just as he had finished that, they heard the ground tremble. And they said to each other, that must be him. And Finn panicked. He says, what do I do now? And his wife said, calm down, put on this bonnet and this night dress and get into the cradle. And so he did. And his wife Unak opened the door to the giant, and the giant says, where is Finn McCool? If I am going to find him, I'm going to shred him to pieces. And Unak said to him, oh, you just missed my husband. He went to build a road to Scotland. He started this morning. He should be done by tea time. You can just come and, wait for him there. And the giant sort of mumbled a little bit, thank you. And she says, please, come in. And the giant came in and sat down, and she said, eat an oat cake. And she offered him one of the flat stones that she had prepared. And, the giant was hungry and, greedily he bit on that pancake, and he said, and, with all his teeth are broken, and he spat it out. And she said, you don't really like them, I see. They are my baby's favorite. And she went over to the cradle and gave her husband the real pancake, the real oat cake, which he happily chewed upon. And she said, to be honest, if I compare you to my husband, you're like a dwarf, small compared to my husband. So if you want to fight him, you better be sure. And when she had given the oatcake to the baby, he said, you have a baby here? And she said, yes. And he looked at the baby and he says, that sure is a big, strong lad you have there. And she says, yes, he has teeth. Yeah, come and see. And she said, just put your little finger into his mouth and you can see for yourself. So the giant, a little nervous, put his little finger into Finn's mouth, and he bit on it with all his might, and the giant went, ah! And he said, if Finn McCool's baby is that strong, then I'm not going to wait around here to see Finn McCool himself. And before you knew, he was out of the door and over the hill. So quick, Finn had not even yet finished getting out of his cradle yet. Now, Finn never finished building that road to Scotland or in the sea. You can still go to Scotland and you can see there's a little beginning of it sticking out. Instead, he just spent the rest of his day with his beautiful and clever wife. That's exactly what he did. The message of this story is, you've got a brain, use it. Thank you.